Hey, what's up everybody? This is GreyMan here, and by popular demand we're going to dive into how to store rice for long-term storage. Now there's going to be a few things that you're going to need, and this may differ depending on, everybody does it somewhat different, but the concept is relatively the same. So you're going to need a few things. You're going to need some O2 absorbers, some duct tape, I'll explain why, a mylar bag that fits your 5-gallon bucket. That's one key thing. You want to make sure you get the right size mylar bag for your bucket. What else do we got here? I'm going to be using a flat iron, and we'll see how that plays out. Of course, you're going to need rice. What works for me is about 30 pounds of rice inside here. So I usually get a 20-pound bag, or if I get several, then I kind of break it up. But I usually get a 20-pound bag and a couple 10-pound bags, or yeah, 10-pound bags. So 20, 30, 40. Now that wouldn't make sense, but yeah, 10-pound bag. Anyways, it equals out to about 30, 35 pounds total that can fit in these buckets. I also prefer to use gamma lids. Now, some of you folks have talked about gamma lids in chat. Basically, a gamma lid comes in two parts. It comes with the ring, which some of you folks have asked, how do you put them on? So first, you want to separate the gamma lid from the ring. You want to press this ring around the outside of the bucket. If you can't do it by hand, you could always use a rubber mallet to tap it on. That way your gamma lid will fit on there and become nice and tight. Hand tight, of course. All right, so what we're first going to do is let's take our mylar bag. Now, one thing you want to do with mylar, when you buy your mylar bags, you might want to do this in a dark room. And what I mean by this is you want to make sure that this does not have holes in it, okay? And the best way to do this is if you take this into a dark room, and I know I got my flashlight here on me somewhere, and take this in a dark room, open up the bag, turn on your light inside the bag, and see if you see any light or little holes coming through. That way it kind of gives you an idea if there's any holes inside your mylar bag before you use it for long-term storage. Just a couple tidbits that I like to use in regards to before I go through the whole process and come to find out either this had a hole in it or there was some issue with the products that I have. You know what I mean? So, sorry, I'm just trying to get my flashlight back in there. All right, so we're going to start here, and I'm going to show you how this works. And I'm also going to use bay leaves. A lot of you folks know that I like to use bay leaves. It kind of keeps away pests, and everybody's going to use bay leaves differently. I use bay leaves inside my bucket and outside the bucket. What I mean by inside the bottom of the bucket where the mylar is, and I use it also inside the rice itself. Some people say it might give a little flavor, some people doesn't. I don't mind bay leaves, so I like to kind of do everything in excess to make sure that when I open up this bucket, if it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, that I'm not going to run into a pest problem and have all that food ruined after all the work and time that I put into this. All right, so let me show you how to do this. I'll get a close-up view of that, and then we'll continue with this whole process of how to store rice long-term storage. Okay, folks. So as you can see, I've put a couple bay leaves down here at the bottom, and then after I do that, I'm going to put a couple oxygen absorbers down there as well. Now I'll give you all the specs and links to the oxygen absorbers and mylar bags that I use, but I usually take one of those down here and there, and then I kind of do what they call a layering technique. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pour the rice in here. And then I'm going to take a couple more bay leaves right around there. And I'm also going to toss another oxygen absorber as well. Then I'm going to take more rice and put it in following that. As you can see there, basically I'm layering this process just to make sure that it stays pretty good. Like I said, I like to do layering. It's just the way I do it, and it works best for me. Everybody has their own opinion. And of course, I'm going to put a couple more oxygen absorbers on there, and then we're going to fill the rest of this with rice. So let's cut back to me. Okay, so now that you've seen that kind of close up, I'm going to go ahead and finish off this bag. Like I said, it's not very complicated if you follow the process. Now, if any of you guys have any issues with this, like I said, I'm going to put links to my mylar bags, the oxygen absorbers, the bay leaves, if that's what you like as well. You can pick these at Tractor Supply and other various places. Sometimes you'll find them on Amazon, but I like to actually inspect a bucket before I get it. I get my gamma lids also at Tractor Supply as well. So we're going to go ahead and finish this off. We're going to pour more rice in there, and like I said, I'm going to continue that layering process just because that's the way I like it. Now I've already got about 3 layers in here, so I'm pretty much going to top this bag off with the larger bag of rice. All right, now also what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like settle that rice. I like to do this. Sometimes people will hit it on the ground, but I don't want to make too much noise. So I'm going to let that rice settle. Then, like I said, I'm going to continue with the bay leaves, a few on top in there, which is going to help, like I said, repel pests. And then we're going to finish up with our oxygen absorbers. Now I kind of keep these bagged up in a certain way so I know how many oxygen absorbers that you need, and I'll put that like right here so that you can see how many OCCs or whatever that you're supposed to have in there. It's in my mind, but I can't say it, so I'm going to put it right up there for you guys to see. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Mix this in a little bit. I like to put the last couple oxygen absorbers right near the top. And that's the gist of it. All right, so once we've gotten to that part, of course you want to seal your bag, and most of them have like this little kind of thing on here, and you can kind of take this. It's like a Ziploc bag, somewhat, you can say. At least the mylar bags that I get. Now I wouldn't trust this seal 100%. That's why I go a step further, and we're going to see what I do there. And like I said, I will bring up the camera a little closer so that you guys can see that. But once I get this sealed, I'm going to pop this little part right here open, and I'm going to try to press out any other air that I get in here, and then finish that seal here just to kind of help it out a little bit longer. And I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like after a couple of days, because once you put the O2 absorbers in here, you want to come back and check it to make sure that it's done the proper job and remove the oxygen outside of the mylar bag. All right, so we got that nice and tight. Now basically what I'm going to do is you can take an iron. I'm going to use a flat iron. Some people have food savers like I do as well, but it's hard to bring a food saver out here and do all this process, which works very well as well. But anyways, I'm going to make sure that this is across here, and then I'm going to take the flat iron here and heat this up, and I'm going to come across here with it, and I'm going to get the camera and bring it up a little closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, folks, so right here, as you can see, I've already did a test. So basically what this thing is going to do here is I'm going to come across this and basically heat these two pieces together so they kind of melt into each other. And you don't want to go too crazy. What I mean is burn through it. So you want to make sure that you take your time with this. And as you can see here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I've already done this first part just to make sure that this thing was nice and tight. So I'm going to go ahead and go across the entire thing now. Usually I give it 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, check it, move on. 1, 2, 3, and then move on. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then finally, the end. 1, 2, 3. So there, you should be able to see, as you can see here, it's nice. It's all nice and sealed. Now you want to make sure that there's no cracks or any of that fun stuff like that. But now it's all sealed up. So I feel like I have an entire sealed system. I have my bay leaves in here. I have my mylar. I have my O2 absorbers. I have this sealed, and then that's pretty much going to wrap this part of it up. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to fold this in on each other like that, and then I'm going to take this tape here I use white tape. You guys can use whatever tape that you want. I'm going to put a piece of tape across this thing here. And I've learned this the hard way, which I just did again. But anyways, I'm writing the date, which today is what, 12, what is today? Today is Monday. Yesterday was Sunday, Christmas, Saturday is 25, 12, 27, 21. And I'm also going to write the word rice on it. You can also write on the outside of the bucket as well. And then I'm going to take a couple more bay leaves and just kind of put it in here in this thing. Just extra steps, you know what I mean? Once we're done with that part, we're going to go ahead and seal the bucket with this Gamma seal here. I want to make sure you get that in there nice and tight. I go hand tight. Everything is nice and tight. This is good to go. Now what we're going to do again is we're going to check this here at least in 24 to 48 hours to make sure that we have a proper that it's properly sealed, that the oxygen is, the O2 absorbers are working, and everything is on the go. And then I usually follow up with another week check to make sure it's done, and then after that I do quarterly checks just to make sure everything is on the up and up. All right. Okay, so to wrap up this video, what we're going to do is I pulled one that I've had done out of my storage to kind of show you, for the sake of this video, to kind of show you what it should look like once everything is completely done and how it should look on the inside. The only thing on this one, 2019, I don't know if I was using bay leaves at that time, but it's always, you can always add bay leaves after that fact. So I'll probably will go and check the 2019 buckets that I have that are probably don't have the bay leaves in there, and probably add them, and also to make sure that the integrity of everything still looks good. Anyways, I'm going to bring the camera up closer so you can kind of see, but basically I'm going to take this Gamma lid off. And on this one here, like I said, right here, you can see, I don't know if you can see it from there, but I'll bring the camera up close, but this is hard as rock. It says 9/7/2019 rice. All right, let me get the camera, bring it up close, and give you guys a better look at this. All right, so as you guys can see, like I said, I've already removed the Gamma lid like I was showing you just a few seconds ago. There's my tape with my black marker on there, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but this rice is hard as a rock. And I don't mean the rice itself is hard as a rock, but it's vacuum sealed extremely tight, where the rice is nice and tight. Although oxygen has been removed from this bag, so now I know it's being protected. There's no oxygen inside here, or very little, if any at all. And I have the date. Everything is nice and good. The integrity looks good. Of course, you can remove this out the bucket if you prefer to, but like I said, I check everything at least every 3 to 6 months to make sure everything is good. And that's about it for that. I'm going to go ahead and reseal this. And to me, this is how you store rice. Well, folks, that is my process for storing rice for long-term storage. Now, you can apply these skill sets to other things like dry beans and stuff like that, but everything, sometimes some things have different processes than others. Now, with me, with my dry beans, sometimes I will go above and beyond and use my food saver with the big bags that I have and kind of seal those up, but that's for a different video or whatnot, right? So hopefully if you got any value out of this, if you learned anything new, please give it a thumbs up. If you do things differently, drop them down in the comments. I always like to hear from what you guys do and how you guys do your processes for long-term storage, specifically rice. Definitely looking forward to hearing from you guys. And I think, what is today? Today's Monday, so I'll see you guys live tomorrow night, 7:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Grey Exchange. Other than that, God bless, stay safe. I'll see you guys on the rebound.